We've got version exclusives and more Ultra Beast to talk about. Pokemon! 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 Hello everyone, I'm Dustin Benzel, and welcome to another Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon discussion. Now I know I'm a little bit late on this. I was going to record this yesterday, but I had some emergency things to deal with, so of course I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into this. Unfortunately, I don't have notes. I didn't manage to come up with notes, so I'm just gonna pretty much do this on the fly. Basically, I mean, I have Pokemon.com, and we'll talk about the various Pokemon and everything, and all the features in Ultra Beasts and stuff. So let's of course go and talk about. Let's see. We'll talk about the version exclusives, and then we'll go to Ultra Beasts, and maybe we'll talk about like Z moves and other factors or other things later on in this particular video. So let's jump into the version exclusive primates. Okay, so in Pokemon Sun, we have this lemur type Pokemon that could be easily regarded as the rugby Pokemon. Now, a lot of people are like, well, maybe it's football, or maybe it's like soccer, I guess, or whatever. Based on Passimian's pose and the way that it appears, while I can see why people might think Passimian is like a quarterback in football, if I know the little bit of rugby that I think I know about rugby, Passimian is definitely more about rugby, because football, at least American football, is not like rugby. I mean, there are different rules and different contexts, and maybe I'm completely wrong, but basically, if I remember correctly, in American football, you have another player who passes it to the quarterback. He runs around and he throws the ball at a particular receiver who then runs away. Passimian kind of is like the hockey version of American football, if I can make that joke, because to me, Passimian's like he has the ball and he's just like beating and punching, something you don't see in normal football. So while it might be football, I think it makes more sense for it to be rugby, and rugby Pokemon was on the Chinese League. Now, of course, lemurs aren't monkeys, but anyone who casually looks at this thing, not knowing the differences and not actually looking this up, because I actually looked this up myself. I didn't have anyone to teach me or anything of that nature. I watched a video on the internet that told me that yes, lemurs are in fact primates, but they're like a different form of primates. I don't know quite how to explain it, but there were like the primates that, like, you have like monkeys, gorillas, apes, and I think humans as well. You have those type of primates, and then you come over here to the primates and you have all these weirder primates like lemurs and anything else that's related to that. Maybe even like bush babies, maybe. I'm not entirely sure on that one. But yeah, they're just like, there's like this separate group of primates, and I think it might be like not sapient, maybe sapien. I think that might be the monkeys and the gorillas and the humans areas, and these are like the non. See, I'll go to lemur real quick, and it should say what a lemur is in regards to that. Yeah, the Strepsirini, the suborder. Yeah, and yeah, you got like lemurs and all kinds of primates like that, and that's the different one. But then we go to like orangutan, and that's like in the Hap order. the the Hapalorini order or whatever. So yeah, like two separate things for primates. So I can understand why someone would look at Passimian and think, oh, that's a monkey. Oh, and it looks like it has like some sort of sport. And I guess based on its position, it might be a rugby monkey. So I do think those particular rumors that came with are accurate. So the only thing that needs to finish this off is the snowman Pokemon. I believe. Oh, and maybe the dolphin Pokemon. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So of course, sorry about that distraction. Let's get right into Passimian. Now, personally, I think Passimian is a pretty cool Pokemon. It's got like some sort of melon helmet, like it's holding like a berry or a melon type thing in its hand, and it throws that and everything, and it looks like it cut that berry in half and like dug it out and just put it on its head. That's what it looks like with some sort of markings on it, and it's really cool. You can see it with the image, and of course, it's the teamwork Pokemon. It's a pure fighting type, which is interesting. And it has the ability Receiver, which, of course, is when the partner gets knocked out, you actually receive the ability. Like shown in that trailer that we saw Vikavolt being fainted, and, of course, Passimian gained Levitate, which then, of course, made it immune to Palossand's Sand Tomb move, I believe it was. I'm not really sure what the move was. Okay, so that's that. And of course, this, if I don't remember if I quite said it or not, but this is for Pokemon Sun. Now, of course, it says Passimian live in troops 20 to 30 individuals, all following a leader. The leader will take 10 of the individuals in best condition to search for food. The troops' teamwork is strong, and the boss of each troop decides which members will wear on their arms to distinguish the troop. And I guess we kind of see marks on the Passimian right here. It's like got a green, like ellipsoid figures, I believe, and they're right next to each other, if I'm using the right word. I'm not entirely sure. So, of course, the boss puts troop members through training to improve their coordination with another their skill in handling berries. Training is so hard that some Passimian end up running away. Lobbing berries at foes is how Passimian attack. Passimian just don't pitch hard berries at opponents either. They also have a technique that use soft berries to obscure their opponent's ability to see. That would definitely be interesting if Passimian had certain unique signature moves. Passimian wants its trainer to have the qualities of leader as well. It watches the trainer's form closely when he or she throws Pokeballs and will not listen to the orders of a trainer with poor form. So yeah, that's definitely interesting. So that's Pokemon Sun. So yeah, it's a very interesting fighting type, which is pretty nice or whatever. So let's run into the other version exclusive for Pokemon Moon, and that's the other primate Pokemon, Oranguru Oranguru, I think is what it is. Like orangutan, so maybe Oranguru. Like it has orangutan, so it's basically an orangutan Pokemon, but also has Guru in it, which, based on its category of being the Sage Pokemon, someone who has like some sort of guidance or whatever. And of course, interestingly, it is a normal Psychic Pokemon, which kind of makes this Pokemon um, weak and strong against Passimian, which is interesting because it takes neutral damage from Passimian being normal and psychic, but Passimian is still weak against it. So it would kind of be interesting if maybe if it also took neutral damage, but I'm not entirely sure what it would be. Steel fighting, maybe. So anyway, it has two abilities: Inner Focus, which prevents flinching, which I don't think is the best move for it because it has the move Telepathy. And while Telepathy, from what I understand, from what I've heard other people saying, it's not the best ability to have, but it's definitely interesting in double battles because basically Telepathy allows your Pokemon to be immune to your partner's moves. So like Earthquake, Surf, Oranguru will not take damage from those. So of course, that's not all, of course, and it says here, Oranguru lives solitary, lives deep in forests, and do not usually take much action. Instead, they position themselves high up in the trees to meditate. Long ago, people thought the Oranguru were humans who dwelled in the forest depths, so they called them the people of the forest. Oranguru is the kind of other Pokemon living in the forest, is kind to the other Pokemon living in the forest, providing medicine for injured Pokemon and food for the hungry. Allegedly, there have been sightings of Oranguru using Pokeballs. The fan-like objects held by Oranguru are handmade by the Oranguru themselves. These fans appear to be made of layers of leaves bound together with Oranguru's own fur, which we kind of actually see. Now, this is the most interesting thing about Oranguru. Instruct is a move that only Oranguru can learn. It can make the selected target use its most recent move again immediately. And this is definitely useful for double battles. So if your Pokemon, if you're against like Vikavolt and Vespiquen, hypothetically, and you have Oranguru and let's say Magmar, and Magmar uses like, I don't know, Lava Plume that I think attacks both enemies, and it goes there and it just leaves a little bit. Oranguru can use it, and then Magmar can use Lava Plume again and completely knock out Vespiquen and Vikavolt. So of course that's very useful. So that way you could do like twice as much damage. So Oranguru is definitely coming off as a very defensive Pokemon, while Passimian is very offensive. So yeah, that's something to take into consideration. So, and Oranguru looks pretty fine to me. It looks kind of creepy, like I guess like a mythic type Pokemon look, or creature look. It looks like it, like not mythic, but something like meditating, and something that looks like it would have like psychic abilities or whatever. So that's very interesting. And you know, I'm fine with these version exclusives, and I will talk about version exclusive in just a moment, because I'm not entirely happy about the next version exclusives, because while I did resolve, and I'll explain why I think it could make sense, I think Game Freak did something incredibly stupid in my opinion. Just my opinion, okay? Now, look, I don't mind version exclusives because it makes sense. In my mind, version exclusives make sense because it's kind of like that one concept in those one games where Caterpie was more common than Weedle, but Weedle was more common and Caterpie was more rare in the version exclusive games that I'm thinking of. And you know, and I kind of think that makes sense. You know, in Pokemon Sun, there is so few orangutan that you can't capture it wild in the actual games. Instead, you can only capture Passimian because in Pokemon Sun, there's an abundance of Passimian. Likewise with orangutan. Not orangutan, not the actual animal, the Pokemon I'm talking about, Oranguru. Oranguru is more common in Pokemon Moon, while Passimian is extremely rare, and because it's so rare, you can't capture it in the wild. Those types of version exclusives don't make any sense, and while I can come up with a reason for this, I am very upset about this because it otherwise makes no sense. There is only one justification for it, although I'm having a hard time believing it, and of course that has to deal with Rockruff's evolutions. It's the same Pokemon, but with different forms. We have Midday form, which is exclusive to Pokemon Sun, and we have Midnight form, which is exclusive to Moon. When I first heard this, I was very upset. I was so upset and so confused. And I'm like, okay, technically, in terms of games, you can program it and it makes sense perfectly within the games. However, in terms of creating a universe, it makes no sense whatsoever. It really doesn't. I didn't think of it, but no, think of it like this. How can Rockruff only evolve into midday form in Pokemon Sun, and yet expect anyone to actually believe that you can run into a midnight form. That makes no sense whatsoever, and it's why I was extremely upset. It's like they can't connect. I mean, sure, maybe alternate universes in Pokemon, maybe you can battle someone from an alternate universe, but it makes no sense unless someone sent a Pokemon into or whatever. But if we run into a trainer, just a random trainer with the opposite form of Lycanroc, it makes no sense because Game Freak put themselves in a horrible position, and they're all like saying, well, Lycanroc can only happen in Pokemon Sun and can only happen in Pokemon Moon for Midnight form. They are incompatible. They made the situation incompatible, and it's why when I heard this, I was really upset. At the time, I was going to make some sort of reference in regards to how convoluted these evolutions can be. Like, the example I was going to say is you need to defeat the Elite Four on a Wednesday, and you get some sort of coin or something that you attach to a Pokemon, and that's how it evolves into that particular version form, because you can only do that in Pokemon Sun or Moon. And then I thought, well, maybe it's like, maybe it's a held item, and that would make sense, or a key item. You know how in some versions, especially Heart Gold and Soul Silver, I believe, where you would get a item depending on your version, and you would either end up being able to capture Ho-Oh or Lugia. And I feel like that makes any sense. You go to someone who gives you an item, a key item or a hold item, and depending on the version, he gives you something different. That would also explain this. But if Rockruff evolves naturally without anything else, it didn't make any sense. And I was very upset about this because it was like, why are Game Freak being stupid about this? They can do whatever they want within their games, but if they want to create a concise universe, then these two Pokemon could not exist. How would you explain this in the Pokemon anime? Because obviously it doesn't matter whether a Rockruff evolves during the day or night. Maybe that's the case, but they made the evolution forms version exclusive, and it really annoyed me. It got me so angry because I'm like, what are you doing, Game Freak? But I think I figured out potentially a solution. I don't think it's the best solution, and I still have problems with this, but I think I can maybe explain what happens. Now, based on their description, Rockruff, when it bathes in the sun, becomes Rockruff midday form. When it absorbs the moon rays and stuff, it becomes midnight form. The only justification for why Rockruff only evolves into midday form in Pokemon Sun and midnight form in Pokemon Moon is if it has something to do with circadian rhythm. Sort of like what they say in regards to Alolan Rattata and Raticate and how it changed its form to become the Alolan form. This is the only thing that can make any sense. Now, if you don't know the difference between Pokemon Sun and Moon, the big difference is that Pokemon Sun will be playing normally as you are. It'll be day when it's your day and everything like that. Pokemon Moon, however, would be like if you were playing a game in the United States, but you got the screenshot of someone who at the 12-hour difference, so they'd be playing it at night, and you kind of get to see it from their perspective a little bit. The only way that I can justify these Lycanroc forms is circadian rhythms. When you play Pokemon Sun, your Rockruff will have a normal circadian rhythm. It'll be day when it's day, and it'll be night when it's night. And usually, the thing is, humans are awake during the day, they go to sleep at night, and that's how, I believe, that's how their circadian rhythm works. Pokemon Moon, on the other hand, it's like the opposite. So, what it's saying is, during the day, when someone's awake, it's actually night, and they go to sleep during the day. So they're awakened during the night, but then they go to sleep at day. It's like the opposite. That is the only way to justify these being aversion exclusive forms, is that in order to evolve Rockruff into midnight form, you have to have its circadian rhythm so that it's mostly active during the night rather than the day. So when it's active during the night and then it doesn't do anything at night, it absorbs more moon radiation, or sorry, different franchise, moon energy, bathes in the moonlight or whatever. That might be the only way to justify why both versions can be in both games without being actually incompatible in a logical, realistic sense. And that's really the only way that I can justify this, is that their circadian rhythms are different in some or whatever. So Rockruff, who has the normal human day-night cycle, will evolve into midday form because they're mostly active during the day, and midnight form, as I've said, mostly active at night. That would mean, hypothetically, in a realistic sense, that there could be a midnight form in Pokemon Sun, but because the circadian rhythm of that Rockruff was different than the normal ones that you usually catch. That is literally the only way that I can justify these being version exclusive. Otherwise, sure, they can be in the games, they can be compatible with the games because technology could program it the way that it is. But when I first saw it, and before I even thought of that as a possibility, the Game Freak made these incompatible. I mean, I know it doesn't matter, but how was the anime supposed to handle this? How was any fan fiction supposed to handle it? At this particular point, you would have to change it so when Rockruff evolves during the day, it becomes midday form. When it evolves at night, it becomes midnight form. That was literally the only way that they can do that, and that's what it should have been. That's what it should have been. Rockruff should evolve into midnight form at night and midday form in, in during the day. That's what it should have been. Should have been a day-night evolution form, not a version exclusive. But I gave a justification. Now, before I completely say how I'm very annoyed about this, when I get into like rumors and speculation and stuff, I want to go over what these Pokemon are real quick. So, of course, let's talk about Lycanroc midday form, which is the wolf Pokemon. It's a pure rock type for whatever reason, same as midnight form. Midday form has Keen Eye and Sand Rush. Keen Eye prevents accuracy loss, and I think Sand Rush uh, increases speed stat is doubled during the sandstorm. That would make sense. Sand Rush. Okay, so then Lycanroc Midnight Form has Keen Eye, which again prevents Accuracy Law, and Vital Spirit, which I believe allows it to never go to sleep or never be put to sleep, like Slackoth, or not Slackoth, Vigoroth. I think what it was. Let's see. Oh, maybe not. What is it? Prevents Pokemon from falling asleep. So then why isn't... Okay, there's Vigoroth. Okay. So yeah, prevents the Pokemon from going to sleep. Rest will fail. Sleep and can be afflicted by sleep or yawn. So yeah, that's what Vital Spirit is. Personally, I think Midday Form has it a little bit better with Sandrush. Unless sleep is a very common status ailment in the competitive nature. But anyway, profuse amounts of solar energy for midday and abundance of lunar energy in... So I think that's kind of what it's saying right there. Profuse amounts of solar energy active during the day. Rockruff bathed in abundance of lunar energy at night, which is kind of like what Pokemon Moon is kind of about. That's what happens. So, like I said, that's literally the only reason I can explain this. Otherwise, they theoretically cannot exist in the same universe at the same time. Based on what they're having, Rockruff can only evolve into one or the other, but not both. But I guess maybe, like I said, different circadian rhythms, different day-night cycle, a night-day cycle for some, I guess would be it. So, Lycanroc midday form lives solo in the mountains and deserts, not creating a pack. Each has its own territory, and they live without interfering with one another, which helps to avoid unnecessary fights. Lycanroc obeys its trainer's orders dutifully. In particular, if a trainer accepted it during its more rebellious pre-evolution period, Lycanroc will never ever betray that trainer and will be the most loyal of partners. It has a new move for itself. I don't know if it's a signature move or whatever. That only midday form Lycanroc. I don't know if that means only Lycanroc midday form could evolve, or of the Lycanroc forms, only midday can learn. Based on the fact that it's Accelerock, I'm going to say that only Lycanroc that is of midday form can evolve it, so I think it's a signature move exclusive. And I am a little annoyed with this, and I'll get to why in just a moment, but it is a priority move, and it slams into an opponent with a quick rock type moves, because I'm pretty sure Accelerock is a rock type, and the move is guaranteed to strike first, so it is a priority move, which unfortunately means it's going to have no effect on a Bruxish with Dazzling Gleam, I believe is what it is, or Dazzler, whatever. And Lycanroc midday form is basically known for its quickness and everything of that nature. So then, of course, we run into Lycanroc midnight form. Provokes its opponents by pressing in hard and inviting their attack. A single devastating blow counters with the four counters is their forte. That finishes off their foe. The stronger the opponent is, the more excited for battle it becomes. It doesn't mind getting hurt if it means victory in battle. Battles thrill it so much that its eyes glows. Contempt rises in this Pokemon for trainers who give it orders it doesn't agree with, or who try to force it to battle, which contradicts the whole thing that it said where it liked to battle stronger opponents. So how does that make any sense? How can a Pokemon that loves to battle have a problem with being forced to battle? Pokemon makers, mind explaining that to me? I mean, I suppose if Lycanroc was like almost dead and you kicked it repeatedly so it used an attack, I could maybe understand that. But a Pokemon that loves to battle, that wants to battle, really doesn't make any sense for it to say that it grows contempt for those who force it into battle. There has to be a special condition, otherwise it wouldn't make any sense. On the other hand, it will feel a deep trust in a trainer who can truly draw forth of its power in battle. Now, this is the problem that I have with midday form having Accelerock. Why? Because Counter is a move that Rockruff can learn when it evolves into midday form Lycanroc. When Lycanroc takes physical damage from an opponent, it deals double damage back at the opponent. So midday form gets the cooler signature move of Accelerock, which very well might have like 50 or 60 base stat power or whatever. But Lycanroc midnight form, who cares? It just gets counter, a move that countless other Pokemon have had, and it's nothing new. I mean, you couldn't have made it a signature move like Counter or something, like a move that will not. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, you can't use Counter against Ghost types. I think you used to be able to do that, but they decided no, Counter cannot be used against Ghost types. And I'm like, you couldn't create a Rock type version that could affect all Pokemon. Because Counter can only affect those that it can affect. Doesn't take super effective damage. Let's see. So in Generation 2, furthermore, Ghost-type Pokemon are now immune to Counter. So yes, let's give a Rock-type a pure rock type, which really doesn't make any sense, a move that can be resisted completely by a ghost type, a rock type Pokemon. That's why I'm not really happy about this at all. Midday form gets the signature move while midnight form doesn't. Maybe Lycanroc learns a signature move. Maybe it gets some really cool, unique new rock type moves that are introduced that other rock type moves Pokemon can have, but not midday form. Maybe that could balance it out, but otherwise I'm not really all that happy because it should have had its own. So personally, I do prefer, I don't know if I discussed this before or not. I think I did talk about my opinion in regards to this, potentially. And I think it was that I said midday form looks too much like Rockruff's evolution, that it looks too basic, while midnight form is a lot cooler. I don't know if I mentioned that or I just put it in my notes that I was going to make for Korokoro, but then I just decided to wait, and so that's what this video is all about. Okay, so that's pretty much all the brand new Pokemon that I want to talk about, and I totally forgot to put this in this particular video, so I'm cutting right at this particular moment to talk about it before I move on with the Sun and Moon information that I was going to talk about. Now, I said earlier that there was something that I was going to discuss, and that's in regards to the actual starters, and I'll try to make this as brief because I already recorded the video and it's already like nearly 40 minutes long, so I'll try to be brief. In the first Korokoro that we got of Rockruff, it did mention that Rowlet, Litten, and Rockruff, and Poplio, I think those are all the 4 Pokemon, were going to have a secret. Now, because of the wording, it was assumed that they would share a secret. When Korokoro came out and showed that they were going to have different forms, that kind of made everyone be like, oh, okay, that's happy or whatever. But as it turns out, they were not day-night forms because they are version exclusive, as I've already talked about in this particular video. And at the same time, I am definitely not happy with this, because if this is true, and they share a secret, I'm not going to be happy that Litten, Poplio, or Rowlet are going to have potentially version exclusive different evolution forms, which is why I'm not really happy about Lycanroc as well having forms. That's if they share a secret together. If, for whatever reason, it was just to say they have a secret, then I'm not going to be happy because Korokoro should not have done that. When you say X, Y, Z, and R are going to have a secret, it is implied by the wording that they share the secret, that there is some connection with that secret. You can't just say X or W, X, Y, and Z share a secret, but W can learn a signature move, X can evolve into a different Pokemon, Y can have a signature Z move, and Z can change its appearance based on what it's holding. No. If you're going to do that, you would separate it. So I'm not exactly happy that in the first Korokoro of Rockruff, it said that the starters and Rockruff have a secret. Because if they weren't going to be shared, if it was going to basically imply that Litten, Rowlet, and Poplio do not have alternate forms, then why even mention that at all? Obviously, they weren't going to reveal that, and we were just going to get Rockruff anyway. But secondly, if they were accurate, I don't want version-exclusive forms. Because the Chinese leak that we got of the final starter evolutions that we saw, those kind of look like Pokemon that you would expect to be in Night, as in Pokemon Moon, and everything else about Pokemon Moon I'm really happy about. Lunala, UB2, technically Lycanroc Midnight form. Oranguru I prefer a little bit more than Passimian. I'm perfectly fine with Alolan Raticate over Gumshoes as the totem Pokemon. I like the concept of being able to play Pokemon Moon during the day, but it's night within the games. So everything about Pokemon Moon is like really exciting and kind of making me happy to experience. And I want to see that particular journey. But not really going to be happy if I get Wrestler Fire Dark slash Fighting Litten Final Evolution. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what Koro was thinking, saying that the starters in Rockruff would have a secret if it wasn't going to be shared. And if it was going to be shared, I'm definitely not going to be happy with the final evolutions if it's Moon exclusive. So that's all I wanted to say. Sorry for making this video even longer than I recorded it, but I forgot to add this part in this particular moment. So anyway, in just a moment, we'll carry on with the rest of the video. Cutting it a little close, so I'll go ahead and quickly talk about the other things that were introduced. So, of course, what I am going to talk about is the Ultra Beast real quick, the new ones. UB2, there are two versions of that, depending on version exclusives. We have UB2 Absorption, which is very powerful, bulging muscles, full force of the punch. It is going to be in Pokemon Sun. It's distinctively long mouth and said to be harder than diamonds. Could the Ultra Beast also use it to attack? Potentially. And then, of course, yours UB2. UB2 is Beauty. It's in Pokemon Moon. The narrow, graceful legs allow it to accelerate with such explosive speed that people can say it can dodge lightning. It is said that any Pokemon that sees UB2 Beauty, regardless of its own gender, will become infatuated with it and lose the will to battle. The exact reason for this reaction, whether it's the result of an unidentified pheromone exuded by UB2 Beauty or a hypnotic effect induced by its appearance, has not been determined. And UB1 kind of looks like a mosquito with 4 legs on steroids, basically. And UB2, I guess a lot of people are saying like praying mantis of some sort, I guess. And it looks like it does look like a bug, but it looks more like a alien version of it, and it looks really nice. It kind of lives up to its name, I guess. It does have that glorious appearance or whatever. So those are the new Ultra Beasts, and they are seen battling against Tapu Koko, the island deity, and Hala, I believe, was there as well. So that's all I want to say about that. I don't think there's anything else to say. There's even supposed to be even more Ultra Beasts coming up, so I guess we'll learn more about that in the future. So I think that covers the new things in regards to that. So let's talk about some features. One thing that I want to quickly note is we have trainer customization. I think it's a little bit more advanced than before. I think they've added a little bit more detail for trainer customization, so if you're into that, that's fine. The only thing I will say about Pokemon Refresh, it's like an updated version of Pokemon Ami, and you can use it to get rid of your Pokemon's status effects like paralysis and poison and sleep potentially. I don't know if I heard one YouTuber say that it could potentially be used during battle, but I'm not really sure how much that makes any sense. But there's that, and of course there is some exclusive Z moves that we need to talk about. So first, let's talk about the Extreme Extreme Evoboost, and it's Eevee's exclusive move. Eevee Z move gathers together Sylveon, Jolteon, and all of Eevee's evolutions, all 8 of the Pokemon that can evolve into, and grants their power to Eevee. This powerful move raises Eevee's attack, defense, special defense, and speed by 2, which is very nice. It's like if it used like ancient power, ancient power, and was it Silver Wind twice, and it affected, it raises its attack stat all the stats up by 2 within battle. So that's Eevee. And of course, for Pikachu, Pikachu gets its own exclusive Z move, of course. Because why not? Alolan Raichu has its own exclusive move. What about Pikachu? Catastropika. That was not the word I meant to say. Enjoy that hilarious mistake. Catastropika. Pikachu's exclusive Z move, Catastropika, is a superpowered attack move which Pikachu borrows its trainer's strength, wrapping itself in extra high voltage electric power and charging into its opponent. This will become Pikachu's most powerful attack. So apparently it's going to be stronger than Volt Tackle, apparently. So that's interesting to note. So what this shows is there's going to be a lot more than 18 Z moves, because we're already getting like 19, 20, 21, 22. I think we have like 22 Z moves confirmed. The 18 types that they said that there was going to be for each and every type that presumably every Pokemon has access to, as long as they have the same type of move on their move set, as well as Pulverizing Pancake and Stoked Spark Surfer. So I think that's all I'm going to discuss in this particular video. There will be more information on August 4th. I don't know if there's going to be any other Pokemon Sun and Moon discussion videos until then or after that particular moment, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I don't know if I mentioned this. I think it was part of Korokoro, but apparently we will learn about Tapu Koko's secret in the next Korokoro. So the hesitancy that I had with Tapu Koko being a normal type and having strange abilities might be able to be more justified in next month's Korokoro, because it'll explain the mystery, and hopefully Tapu Koko will have a different type or a different ability or even more power. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And I think it was also for Korokoro as well. There is something about Pokemon Go, about the Alolan forms of Pokemon in Pokemon Go. I don't know what that means. I don't know if Pokemon Go can transfer things over and become Alolan forms from Pokemon Go. I don't know if that's even a thing that's even possible. I don't know if a 3DS can interact with a cell phone. I don't know if I don't know if you can access Pokemon Bank on mobile and then transfer those Pokemon to the bank that can be later. I just don't know. I don't know if it's saying that Alolan forms will be in Pokemon Go, but it's whatever. And I think that's pretty much all that I'm going to say. There's also something else that was revealed in Korokoro, but that's going to be its own separate video now that we have a lot of information in regards to that. And of course, that's about the anime of Sun and Moon. So anyway, that's all I'm going to talk about in this particular video. So, thank you for watching. I'm Dustin Benzel, and I will see you in my next video. But goodbye.